Welcome everyone to the January 21, 2025 meeting of the Orland Park Plan Commission. At this time, I would ask everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll do our roll call. I'm Commissioner Parisi. Vice Chairman Schuessler. Commissioner Paul.
Here.
Commissioner Zamparelli.
Here.
Commissioner Zatar. Here. Commissioner Sanchez.
Here.
And Commissioner Nugent.
Here.
Thank you. You've all had a opportunity to review the minutes for the January 7th meeting and that's issue number 2025-0077. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I have one correction.
Pardon?
I have a correction.
Correction? Yes, please.
Page 19,
Okay, page 19.
down about 3/4 of the way,
What to start with?
Vice Chairman Schuessler.
Okay,
In the, let's see, third sentence, it says, "But they went around it." It should say, "But they went with it."
oh, that's a whole lot different.
Yeah. So if there are no other corrections, I'd move that the minutes be approved as corrected.
Second.
Anything else? Okay, we have a motion with a correction, and we have a motion by Commissioner Schuessler and a second by Commissioner Zamparelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? You abstaining? Commissioner Zatar is abstaining. Okay, thank you. At this time,
Did you abstain?
pardon?
You have to abstain, right?
No, I don't.
No, you don't have to,
I
but you
watched
can.
it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always thought I had to.
Yeah.
You did too.
No, you don't have to. Would you like to change that?
I didn't realize, I thought
Vote for it or
it was a
against
policy
it.
that you
No,
had.
it's not.
But God, it doesn't make sense if
Okay.
you weren't there.
Thanks, Joe. I move that we open non-public hearings.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed? I move that we continue motion 2025, issue 2025-0011, and that is the Dugan Park redevelopment project. I move that we continue that to the April 15th meeting of this year.
February 18th?
April 15th.
That was an adjustment from this morning, so the new
All right.
request is to Tuesday, April 15th.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zatar. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. I move that we open public hearing number 2024-0587, Dave's Hot Chicken, updated building elevations and branding as amended.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Is a petitioner here? Now, are all three of you with the petitioner?
My name is Megan Preston. I'm one of the attorneys. Sorry.
Our meetings are recorded.
Yes.
So you're all with the petitioner. So our meetings are recorded. So anybody who's going to speak at the mics can be recorded. So we need to swear you in and get your address.
Absolutely.
And we should swear you all in because you might think you're not going to
Yes.
speak, but somebody might ask you a question that pertains to you. Okay? So if you raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, and are you going to speak for the petitioner?
Yes, I'm going to start, but as you
Okay, if you would just give us your name and address, please.
Megan Preston, 2057 Water Chase Drive in New Lenox.
Okay?
And I'm one of the attorneys on behalf of petitioner Dave's Hot Chicken. I have my associate Victoria Brown here with me today.
Okay.
And we have a representative for the company, Katie Pino.
Okay. And so you've you've obviously seen staff's recommendations and everything,
Yes.
and I understand that one of the issues here is you've asked them to reconsider their position.
Yes.
And if I read this correctly, just go off memory here, but you were going off a revision of elevation number 3, submittal number 3.
They don't like that, right?
And it's obviously a little confusing. Timing-wise, I think things weren't done necessarily in the order they would typically be done. There was some rush on our end to try to get something approved.
Would you
because-
lower that just a little bit so you're speaking anyway?
This way?
I'm old and I can't hear. Go ahead.
Okay, fair enough. There was some rush on our end to make sure that we got something approved to use for signage because we were opening at the beginning of December. We were going back and forth with the village, trying to make determinations on whether we could get our original artwork and signage approved versus getting something that would at least satisfy initial requirements to get something opened timely. And I think that there was confusion on the village's end about exactly what we were asking to be approved. So, for example, we wanted to continue with our original design, but we were asked, withdrew it, submitted something else. So I think that's kind of where some of the initial confusion came in.
Well, we're here to clarify that.
Yes, absolutely. So, could you click to the one that we're? Nope. Click to the one that we want. Yes, please. Okay. So Dave's Hot Chicken relies in part on the colorful artwork type of design for its branding. This is representative of what we typically use for restaurants in various areas. We have a couple of other locations nearby. We have one in Homewood and Batavia. That
We have one in
yes.
downtown LaGrange, don't you?
I don't think that's one of our locations.
No?
I don't believe so. I'm not aware of one.
Okay. Could swore I drove by one.
I'm sorry?
Could swore I drove by one.
Oh. Who knows? So this is more representative of, our typical branding. The idea is to be kind of fun, have people notice us, take interest in our product. And if you actually go inside the location on LaGrange Road, you'll see that the interior matches the kind of various colors that we have placed on the outside of the building here. So this was what we originally anticipated or hoping to use for the design. And went through some iterations. We were told, for example, the backlighting on the lettering was not acceptable. So we went through a couple of different designs, trying to find something that was satisfactory. And this is the signage that is actually approved and is being used currently. And as you can see, this is kind of contrary to what we're typically going for our brand. It's plain, brown, white, as opposed to the colors that are typically associated with us. So what we're asking now is that our original design be approved and we be allowed to substitute in that signage on the exterior for what is currently there now. My understanding of some of the issues that were raised, or the primary issue that was raised, is if you look along this strip mall, which you can kind of see on the shot here, it's the exterior is beige with the signage being smaller for the adjacent one nearby. Although, can you click through to the slide that has the other nearby businesses?
You have original design, approved design, so on and so forth. It's part of your presentation. Please specify, I'm a little confused, which design that you put up there that you think is the final one that you'd like to see approved.
Sure, could you click back to the one we would like approved? This is what we want approved.
That's your original one,
Yes,
which,
which was previously rejected. Or I'm not completely clear, to be honest, whether there was a formal rejection or whether there was ongoing discussion about I don't think this is going to be approved, so we then resubmitted something else. There were a couple of different iterations before we ended up with the current one with the brown background and the white lettering.
I can clarify that if you want me
Yes,
to.
please, yeah.
So the procedure under the village code is that a design like this would undergo an appearance review.
Correct.
Which is performed at the administrative level by staff in the village. So the staff were in discussions with Dave's with regards to this original design. Staff declined to approve it, and there was some negotiation so that, as you mentioned, so that the premises could open. But when a design is not approved or disapproved under the appearance review process, it can be appealed to you, the plan commission. So right now, because the original design was never approved, it was, and then ultimately, when we learned that you wanted to appeal that, we issued a formal notice of disapproval. So this design was disapproved at the administrative level, and the appeal of that disapproval is what you are currently hearing.
Can I ask a order question?
Yeah, go ahead.
As a follow-up, so, and then what's the procedure after this?
Hang on, hang on.
And then what, and then what's?
Excuse me, Joe. Carrie?
I just put the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it off.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, and then what would be the procedure after we vote?
Well, you're the appellate body under the village code, so you sit in appeal of the staff as the administrative decision makers. Off the top of my head, I am not 100% sure, but what I think is the case is that this is the only appeals process that's provided for in the code. So after your decision, if there was any further proceedings, it would have to take place as an administrative review action in circuit court.
I see. Thanks, Joe.
If it matters, that's my thought as well.
Okay. Pretty sure, but I'm spitballing here, but
Did I hear you say you have like 3 locations?
So this is our third for us. I'm sorry, there's also Naperville. I'm forgetting Naperville.
I have 9 locations that are currently,
In Illinois.
7 in Illinois, 2 in Indiana.
Oh, and so are all do all your locations look like this or facades?
No, you can speak to that better than I can.
You want to come to
Play the microphone.
step up, please? You're already sworn in, so we just need your name and address.
Katie Pino.
Katie,
Pino.
Pino, okay.
Pino, 5053 Harbor Lane, Richton Park.
okay, Katie.
A mix. I have some that are very well decorated. I have some that have little decorations, but a majority of them are pretty extensive. Batavia, for example, we just put Batavia freestanding right off of Randall Road. All 4 sides of it are decorated in quite large signage. I'm building Homewood. Homewood's gonna open here next week. It is decorated on all sides, painted white and fully sprayed. It's done by hand. People come in from California, they do this by hand. A majority of them have them, yes.
Thank you. And your position with the company is?
Vice President of Operations, and I
Thank
do.
you. VP of Operations, okay. So there are slight variations.
Yes, everyone has a little bit of a variation.
Sure,
Yes, sir.
okay.
I have one that's got a 3-story wall we just opened up that's quite large in
Sounds
the
like a mess.
city.
Were you finished with your presentation? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, that was more or less what we're looking for. And I think to your attorney's point, there was, the process was a little out of order because we weren't denied initially. We went with another design. And so we then asked to approve our original design. That was denied at the lower level. So we're here asking you to essentially reconsider that decision and approve what we had originally anticipated.
Sure, and, yeah, and based on all of that, we do have a recommendation from staff, and we will hear from staff after you're finished. And if we have any questions, we'll address you. And what was your position? Please introduce yourself to us, please.
I'm Victoria Brown.
What's your first name, hon?
Victoria
Okay,
Brown.
and your position?
Sure. So I'm one of the associate attorneys. I work with Miss Megan Preston, and so my position is for the original design to be approved.
Well, thank you. Thank you much. Steph,
Yes. Can we
Sure.
go ahead and present? Okay.
Please. I don't see anybody from the public here, so we don't have to go to the public.
Would you like us to sit down while you're getting input from your staff?
Please do.
Thank you.
We may have you standing up there for hours.
Fair enough.
I'd like to begin by requesting the staff report be entered into the record as written and as presented. This is just an overall overview of the appeals process. I think once an appearance review approval has been, proposal has been denied, the petitioner has, can appeal the decision, and the Plan Commission has final authority to grant or deny the appeal. The decision does not go to the Board of Trustees. While staff encourages the transparency of a open session, since you are a quasi-judicial body, you have the option of going into a closed session as well. Just a quick overview of where Dave's Hot Chicken is located, corner of LaGrange and 153rd Street. As you can see, it's part of a multi-tenant center. It has, I think it's like an eyeglass store on one side and Jamba Juice on the other side. So this was the original design that came to us back in July. Our initial reaction to it was that the halo lighting is not allowed in the village, is prohibited. We looked at the excessive use of color, and we looked at the Land Development Code and saw what the codes talk about it. There's language in the code about protecting and stabilizing the general appearance of buildings. There's also talk about, promoting acceptability, attractiveness, cohesiveness, and compatibility of new development. So those were some of the criteria we considered while, we were giving feedback to the petitioner. So after the first iteration, the petitioner kind of toned down the graphics on the building, and this was the second iteration. And again, we went back to the code, which talks about, the quality and the scale of the structures, and just sensitivity to the surrounding buildings. And these are again some further excerpts from the Land Development Code. You talk about, exterior design and the appearance of property, the desire to protect and stabilize the general appearance of buildings, talking about, again, cohesiveness and compatibility of new development. And just more, looking a little bit more at what the code says about colors, the code acknowledges that colors are subjective, but also it really calls out about it, colors to be used harmoniously and with some restraint, and talks about, again, the quality and scale of those structures in the existing area should be considered, and how the style should be complementary to the existing buildings. So this, what you see here, was the basis of our approval. Staff, actually, in our review letter, we talked about, we considered the petitioner's requirement for adding pops of color. So we delineated portions of the elevations where the petitioner could indeed showcase some color in some of their branding. So this is the front elevation, and this is the side elevation. And so these two elevations were really the basis of our appearance review approval. And these are photos as of last week, and this is what's been installed. They have the panels up front and the panels on the side, and then the signage. This is a close-up view of what's been installed. This is an example of their Naperville location. It's a little bit more restrained. They have the colors, they have the signage, but they don't have a lot of the branding that they're requiring of us here. So this is just an overview of the process we went through. So we went ahead and we did approve their what we call the version 3. So this was actually approved. And then when the petitioner came back and requested that, version 1 be approved, we went ahead and kind of retroactively denied version 1, I'm sorry. So we denied the version that they were looking for, which is this version here. This is their appeal letter. We received it December 13th, and they definitely, they talk about, they went with the approved design only due to timing concerns related to their planned opening. So staff recommended action is to deny the appeal. And then we have some motions for you, depending on if you want to approve or deny the appeal.
Going through this in 3 versions and all, it could be a little bit confusing, but I think what you're down to is what I think the recommendation is to approve version 1 with the exception of the wall art. Am I correct?
I don't think that's true.
No.
Well, why don't you clarify for me then?
Sure. So our recommendation is to stay with what we had approved, which is what you're seeing on the screen right here, which is
Number 3.
Number 3, exactly. So it's the wall art where it's limited to portions of the elevation, so we still have the expression of color, but it's in certain areas of the building. And they wanted the red awning to be changed, and all of that is good. With regard to the actual signage, at the time that we received their appearance review petition, we were not, halo-lit signs were not permitted in the village. That has changed, I think, over the last couple of weeks. Last night, actually, the Board of Trustees approved halo-lit signs in the village, so...
Approved, what?
Halo-lit signs, so it's backlighting. So the village has changed their stance on approving, so right now we are approving halo-lit signs.
The reason I asked, because what I'm reading here is that for approval of the appeal, there was a recommendation. And one of the items on that recommendation that was crossed out was the wall art.
Correct. So that specific condition talks about the wall art being on demountable panels. So staff requested that if the petitioner wanted to move forward with the colorful art, for that to be on panels that could be removed. The reason being that there are, unfortunately, there are restaurants, spaces with high turnover. And so if we have an instance with a space that's, has a lot of color on the elevation, and then for whatever reason, the tenant moves away, then we're left with, the next tenant has to deal with, all of the colorful art on the wall. So we said, if this is a desire to have some color on the walls, can you think about it in terms of 2 things, in terms of location, where they can go, and the second thing is, can they be on panels that, if Dave's Hot Chicken were up and leave, then, that can be easily taken off the brick facade. So those were, but going back to your point, the reason why that line is struck out.
Please.
It's because that specifically talks about the demountable panels. And on their original version, it's actually painted on the building. It's not on panels that can be removed. So our recommendation is to go with this version that you're seeing here, which is...
Which is version what?
Version 3.
3.
Yes.
Okay. So now...
To deny the appeal.
So now... it seems, what I understand from our attorney, it's kind of like we get an appeal, the ball is kind of in our court. And we can approve their appeal. But now, in doing so, we'd be approving something that doesn't line up strictly with the land development code.
Correct. Well, you can either affirm the staff's decision or reverse the staff's decision. And you can reverse the staff's decision and insert conditions if you would like, if that's how you would like to do it.
Okay, I didn't mean to dominate this, I just, you know.
Can I have Sangeeta clarify a little bit?
Please.
So I just wanted to have a little bit of a longer discussion because of the passage of the
Yes.
halo lighting last night. So I wanted to clarify that you denied halo lighting in the original plan. Can you clarify what will happen even if this panel denies the appeal and affirms staff decision? Can you clarify that there will be something different happening with regards to the halo lighting anyways because of the passage of the ordinance last night?
That is correct. So what you see here is an option for halo lighting that can be applied to the sign.
Backlit light that shines against the building.
Just for clarification, the halo lighting, from other members as well, is the red in this picture that shines against the back of the, it shines against the building in the brick.
Behind
That's halo
the name.
Okay.
That is correct. But our code says that the halo lighting can only be white. So in this instance, the light that's coming out of the signs themselves will be white, but I think Dave's wants, the red color to be applied behind the signs, which is okay. The light is it's going to be a white halo light, and the backdrop is going to be the red color.
Mr. Chairman? May I ask a question?
Commissioner Zatara,
You made a comment, you said it would be okay. That's a subjective comment. It would be against the code, yes or no?
It's the code permits it.
The code permits white or any color?
Only white, but in this instance, it's the sign is still going to have only the white light.
And no, the backlight, the code permits colored backlights?
No.
So it would not be conforming to code, correct or not correct?
I think the petitioner's intent here.
I'm just asking strictly code, strictly precedent, strictly laws, right? We put a rule out that says we can have white backlights. So this would be a variance or this would be okay?
No,
is this red a backlight or is it a reflective surface? What is it?
It's a red paint applied to the
not
building.
white.
So that's what's giving you the
Oh,
appearance.
that red is not a backlight?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So, and then you said last night was approved a halo lighting, but the original #1 submission had a roof lighting. The code that was approved last night doesn't allow for roof line lighting. So if we approve the original request, we would be breaking code. Is that fair with the roof line lighting?
Correct.
I agree, yeah.
Okay, and then I think what I'm interpreting is that the subjectivity comes from the graffiti, or, I mean, I don't mean to call it a wrong word, but the colorful paint, right? Is that the subjectivity?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I was just trying to understand the rules.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mr.
Yeah, and
Chairman,
it's a little with the timing.
Well,
The
let me,
halo lighting ordinance just passed last night, so I just was trying to explain.
Mr. Chairman,
1 minute,
Okay.
just 1 minute, Pat. Are you finished?
I believe so, yes. I think
Okay.
the one thing we want to point out is that it's the space is part of a multi-center development. It's not a standalone building. Petitioners talked about other locations in Batavia and Chicago, and those were standalone buildings where we feel that it might be acceptable there.
The only standalone building I have is Batavia. Chicago's a multi-tenant. Homewood has a tenant next to it.
Yeah, so they're not standalone buildings.
Okay,
Thank you for clarification. Okay?
that's it.
Now, you'll get plenty of questions, because I'm going to go to my commissioners now. And I'll start with Commissioner Zamparelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I want to clarify, I just want to make sure I'm on the right page. I think I am. What's in front of us right now is their #1.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So that's a appeal. If we don't want that, we want to go with what the village recommended. We're not going to be voting on 1. We'd be going on 3. We can recommend that. But that's not what they're here for. They're here for 1, correct?
That is correct.
I also want to clarify that you're not sitting as a recommending body in this case. You're sitting as an appeal body. So
That's-
you're going to affirm or deny the appeal, or affirm with conditions, or deny
That's
with
the
conditions.
clarification I was looking for.
And so you're not, this is not going to anyone else after you. You're not making a recommendation. You're.
Voting on one.
This number one design has been disapproved by the administrative staff,
But they're appealing it.
and they're appealing. So
And
they
that's what
want-
we're voting on.
Yes, and that's
If
what you're
we
voting
deny
on.
If we were to deny the appeal, what would be the next step?
They would get number 3, or take us to court.
No, I mean, in terms of
already
this
have-
body, we're not gonna come back and say, well, we'll approve number 3 with modification.
No, you're the appellate body. This is it.
They
This
already
is,
have 3, it's there, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So if we deny the appeal, what's there is what stays there.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. 3 is there now.
3 is there now?
Correct.
Oh, okay. So then you got what you wanted, if it's 3. What you really want is 1.
They got what they wanted to open.
Okay.
one at a time,
Okay,
please.
well,
One at a time. I would like you to, because you're being recorded. Thank you so much.
Megan, please pull the microphone down so we can hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
going to keep doing that. So this is what is currently, I'm sorry, I guess it's behind me, but this is what's currently on the building.
I'm sorry, can I clarify one thing? Is there currently halo lighting?
There is no halo lighting, no.
Okay, so, but that could change. That's now permissible. So that, so if you denied it, it would be this, but they could also do the halo lighting they want.
and they don't have to go through anything else. If we approve 1, their appeal, they don't have to go through anything more because the hill lighting was approved last night.
Well, no, if you deny the appeal and approve number 3, which is this, they still get to add halo lighting because of what happened last night, which they don't have in this picture.
But they would lose all the art.
I didn't think we could approve 3.
3 is already up there.
3's
there.
I got that.
3
I
is
got
what was
that. So-
administratively approved. If
so
you
all- we're
deny
only
the
voting
appeal,
on
that's
number
what.
1, that's it, tonight.
Can I interrupt?
Please do,
Do you mind? Can we go back to picture number 1,
please.
please, to what was originally?
Who said 3 was approved?
By then.
No,
Recommended.
the roof lighting is not what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for the roof lighting around there. It's not allowed in the village. I don't want that. But I ultimately want, in my business, to brand it. I want to put it closer to the brand, what the brand standards are, and I want it to be noticeable as is. So I'm looking for the artwork. I'm looking for the spray paint. I'm looking for that to be added. It's literally removable, whether we put it up with spray paint, whether I get the option to put panels up there so it's removable, whether it's marked in a code that I painted before I leave, if I ever intend on leaving, and trust me, I don't ever intend on leaving. But if I have to, absolutely, I'll put it back to exactly how it was. Mod Pizza left the brown. We originally sent in a white. That was saying, hey, no, we're not gonna allow you to change it to white, we want it to be natural tones, so then I came back and said, hey, here's it with natural tones, and just minimal artwork. If you can go forward 2 more. And then it came back of, hey, why don't you now tone down a little bit of the artwork? And so that's when I went back to our design team, and this is a little bit more toned down, not as much artwork as the first one, obviously still removing the roof edge lighting, which was never, we were not asking for. It was more so the artwork to be noticeable off of the branch. Well, yes, I did get the panels. The panels are definitely up there, but as you drive down, you'll definitely see it's a little bit harder to see because we are lower in that strip mall, kind of that low end where it's high up there. So yes, I did design with the panels, but they're still hard to see. And as you can see with the landscaping, this picture looks great, but the landscaping obviously has grown. But we still put them up there to get a little bit of flash of color within the business.
And sort of along those same lines, if you actually drive past the location, the parking lot, particularly on the LaGrange Road side, is rather tight. So as you're approaching, because it's on the corner and away from the way you're pulling in, you really can't see any of the design until you're right up on the space, as opposed to the higher artwork, which would be more visible to those kind of coming in the location. And obviously there is a benefit to the business for being on a main route like LaGrange Road. And if our branding isn't recognizable from those traversing the road, then we've lost some of that appeal of being on the main artery in the first place. Additionally, I'd like to just point out I think we've gotten to the fact that some of this is a subjective determination, what complies with, a harmonious look of the buildings. I would point out under the code, 6307 is signs, and A subsection 6 provides that part of the purpose is to support the village's economy by recognizing the need for adequate site identification and maintaining effective communication between signs and the public. So obviously, the village is interested in helping businesses or allowing businesses to promote their brand in a recognizable way so members of the public can find them. And then I would also point out under section 6-308, which is design standards, part of the purposes for architectural design standards is to create an architectural identity and to avoid monotonous similarity or inappropriateness in exterior design and appearance of properties. So I don't think the intent of the code is to require all businesses to look the same. They should be identifiable for what they are. And a main part of that for us is being able to see the colorful artwork on the exterior of our building.
Well, thank you for all the clarification.
You still have the floor,
I
Commissioner
still, thank you,
Zamparelli.
thank you,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman. No, you're fine. I appreciate the input. My concern, and I see it, if it was a freestanding building, it'd be different. And I understand why staff had that, because I'm thinking of Homewood. I'm thinking of the community called Homewood. They're all a bunch of duplexes, and they don't have a lot of code, and the neighbor can put a new roof on, but you drive down there.
It's hometown.
Or hometown, I'm sorry, hometown. And the neighbor can drive down and it just looks very hodgepodge, and I think that's the issue here. That's my problem. When you look at the building, the strip mall, there's beautiful color, and then everybody else is kind of like uniform. If it was like a separate building like Hooters or something like that, had some flashy colors, I could see that being on its own, it wouldn't make a difference. So I
But
think,
even in that case, I would remind us that we do have, that come to mind, I mean, I'm sure there's others, but we do have some businesses in town that had a trademarked signage outside, and one of them happens to be an ice cream place, and their trademark required, their trademark if you go to their other locations, has a very noticeable figure on the outside, and that's not in keeping with what we have in the village, and we denied that, and they went ahead. Then also, in one, maybe two cases, but one for sure, we had car dealerships that wanted a substantial part of the structure to be metal on the outside, the framing and everything, and our code has a requirement for a specific amount of brickwork to be had, and they had to make that change. So, just so you know, however this goes, we're not establishing precedent, we're not setting a new precedent here. That's why I bring that up. I'm sorry, Joe.
I'm Patrick.
Pat.
It's all right.
I'm sorry, Joe.
It's all right, we look alike. No, anyway,
else, Pat?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Nugent?
Steph, so if we had like a Hard Rock, would they be compliant?
What was
Hard
the
Rocks
question?
have that dramatic front entry, so it looks like it's, have you ever seen one?
Right, and typically those are standalone structures, and yeah, they do have the large guitar up front. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, they also have is it Planet Hollywood? One of them has all the plant coming out of the front too, at every location. I thought Hard Rock did that too. Is that Planet Hollywood?
I
So if
believe
one of
you
them
might,
came today,
are you
they
thinking of Rainforest Cafe?
Rainforest Cafe. So those would
Thank
not be allowed unless they were freestanding in our village, right?
I think that's how we'd look at it. When we've had instances of, I'm just going to pull it up here. When we have instances of artwork on buildings, this is, OPA, Greek cuisine, and where, the artwork is looked at as a mural in this instance. So we delineate portions of the elevation where that can really shine. And so there are some examples throughout the village where we have, I mean, it's not that we're saying no to art, we're just saying that we want to limit it and make it a little bit more cohesive with the rest of the building. So that's where we're at.
So P.F. Chang's has a horse in front of the building. So that's different because it's freestanding. It's a freestanding metal sculpture. Is it not art?
That would qualify as art for sure. Yeah.
Because it's not attached, or because it's freestanding, it's allowed?
That's more sculptural, I would think.
Okay.
We denied the ice cream cone for Andy's.
The rainbow cone.
No, Andy's.
Oh, the Andes. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
denied some other
And
stuff
since you
for
mentioned
rainbow
rainbow cone, it is quite colorful, but it's freestanding.
Well, the rainbow, I think, goes back to the art idea. It's like, it's a little bit more subdued. They have both a cone and the colors as their artwork, but maybe more subdued. So is the issue here the flamboyant color?
Yeah, that is part of it. Yes.
Seems to me the issue is the artwork.
If I may.
So we always have to look at sites. I mean, we've talked recently, we have about 12 sites that are narrow, not far from here, next to Mickey D's. So I would want to accommodate somebody that decides to locate next to Mickey D's on a 60-foot wide lot. And whatever they did, I would listen because I want the site to be developed. This mall, I've lived in the village 22 years. That mall came shortly after I did. That's probably about the 8th restaurant. So we want something to be seen. We did raise the road 10 years ago. I don't mean it in a negative way. It is a bland strip mall, right? I mean, it's beige and all that. I mean, the corner is, but that works for Fidelity, right? Fidelity wants stability and all that. So it's not me. No, and I don't mean this negative. What's hot chicken? Isn't all chicken hot? Or is it Nashville hot? Is that what it means?
It's modeled after In-N-Out Burger. So we are the chicken of In-N-Out Burger. We sell 4 items: tenders, mac and cheese, french fries, milkshakes. That's it.
No
Nothing
drive-thru.
price levels. Nothing else. Do one thing right. Don't try to do 75 things and do half behind them.
So the In-N-Out Burger people sell chicken?
I'm sorry?
So technically In-N-Out Burger sells chicken?
No, it's like the chicken box.
The
Like they,
They're the burgers, they're the chicken.
Except there's limited.
I know they exist, I've never been to one. Okay, so we're gonna have no drive-through, but we're gonna have outside parking.
On-site parking is,
I mean, on-site dining, outside dining.
Yes.
there's 4 tables, 5 exterior tables that are outside, yes.
So whether it's teenagers or 60-year-olds, you're appealing to everybody? Who's your clientele?
Clientele ranges anywhere from, currently we're seeing in this area, it's high 18 to 28 male, but then we're also seeing a large female population come in as well too. Who we target, normally standard to city schools targeting is men 18 to 32, the majority of the leases. I'm trying to mentally go or see something.
So my desire to help and succeed and have the artwork above would be, I've noticed your chicken, you have the symbol facing south. I go down that way and turn right enough, and I realized only about a week ago you were open. But I've noticed that, and I've never heard of you before, so I live in a wall, I guess. But, so that caught my attention, but that's not enough.
It's very hard to see. Even driving down tonight, I was,
Not the art, the chicken, people don't notice your chicken?
I'm sorry.
People don't notice the chicken symbol?
Sometimes we are also very kind of like low-key. We don't do a whole lot of advertising. It's all done via TikTok, Instagram, so those who continuously follow us. It's a huge following for the brand. Brand is also brand new. Originated 4 guys in a parking lot underneath one of those $10 Walmart tents in 2017. So it is a different, unique brand with that street feel design that makes who we are.
So, legal counsel, if we all approve, we just need majority, correct?
Yes, but to be.
Yeah, to affirm or deny the appeal, whichever one would be, it would be in a majority vote.
But the pictures we got up there now, if we approve the appeal, is that what we're approving?
That's already there. That's exactly what the building looks like right
Do you want us to click back to what we're?
If you approve the appeal, this is what we'll get.
Pardon?
If the appeal is.
If you approve it, this is what we get, version 1,
Exactly.
Correct.
minus the halo lighting,
The roof
No.
lighting.
Roof light.
minus the roof lighting.
The roof edge, yeah.
Yeah, that's not correct either.
No, it's not in the motion.
They're voluntarily saying now that, but the roof lighting was part of the design that they're appealing. So they're saying now we'll forego it, but that's not technically not part of the appeal. It is part of the appeal.
Well, we can condition that, right?
Yes, we could.
You
Even though
could.
we're not a recommending body. Okay.
You
But
could,
now,
you could
the
grant the
previous-
appeal except as related to the roof line
Back to
lighting,
the
I
previous
suppose.
one. No, keep going, keep going. There. Whose design is that?
That's what's there right now.
That's what's there.
That's 3. That is 3. That's what's there right now.
If you deny the appeal, it will be this, then plus whatever halo lighting they're allowed to do by the ordinance last night.
Okay.
This was staff's recommendation to keep the artwork to those panels. So these are the panels that we recommended, and, you know,
No, that's helpful. So, yeah. I'm sorry.
So staff, I have a question.
John.
I mean, I've been to some of the restaurants that have been before, but beyond the artwork, are they all the way back or there's another business behind them? Or you guys know the answer. Are you all the way to the back of the building?
No.
yes.
My restaurant goes all the way to the back. It's just a three tenants in one, so, I mean, yes. like,
Okay.
front to back. That is my entire side.
Yeah, so people are gonna park on the side and the back. So behind you is the Kohl's Mall and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
And so is there any signage in the back so that people back there know you exist?
Small circle.
Oh, like the duck or chicken thing?
Side building, but I want to say it's 24 inches, if I'm not mistaken.
And you're good with no artwork back there?
I'm good, I'm not asking for our.
Okay.
So you're more concerned with capturing the a view of the people on LaGrange Road?
That's where I really like. And there is two, I mean, obviously there's two options too that we're submitting for review. Obviously version 1 is what I would like, and then also a toned down version 2 that I have submitted also to the city. So this was the second one that they asked me to come back and tone down. So obviously this is the version 2 option as well, and then version 1 I submitted also. So they had gone back and forth with that possibility of allowing it at one time, and then asked for additional, and then by version 2.
But to be clear, your appeal is for us to approve version 1. We got
Council,
to,
last question. So we always got to be careful what we do for the future. If we approve their appeal, have we created a non-conforming or a variance for
I'm sorry?
future? If we approve this, are we creating an opening for a future business with a non-conforming or a variation?
Well, I mean, yeah, if you approve it, because
We've set
you'd
precedent.
you'd have to decide what you want to do about the roof edge lighting. And as I understand this, the halo lighting is also different from what was allowed by the ordinance last night. And then, you know, the last issue is the color. So,
I'm good. I yield.
yeah. But, and it would seem to me that when we say conforming, it would be.
You know, like if somebody goes to
No,
Chuck's
but
and
I'm
wants to
saying, when
do-
we say conforming, it's conforming to some specific code requirement,
Right.
as opposed to a subjective requirement.
right.
I was about to say something like Chuck's. I'm thinking of something vacant, but Chuck's Lager
Yeah.
is freestanding, so that doesn't apply.
Yeah. No, there's others. I mean, you know, but, okay,
right.
thank you. Commissioner Schussler?
Question for staff. Is there anything in the code that specifically says that a freestanding building has more latitude than an applicant that is in a strip mall?
Or is that subjective?
It's a good question.
Sangeeta, I think you might point to the code provision about uniformity between facades in a multi-tenant building.
Okay, that answers my question. My personal opinion, and all this is very subjective.
It is.
I mean, from the staff standpoint, from our standpoint. My personal opinion is version number 1 is a bit over the top. You came back with version number 2, and I thought that was acceptable. It toned down this is version number 2. It toned down the amount of color that you're blasted with in version number 1, and I thought that was reasonable, so I'm not quite sure why the staff didn't like it. I understand when you look at those bushes in front that go halfway up the window, it's very hard to see those panels that were approved for the front. So I think number 2 is a very reasonable alternative, but that's not an option. So let me ask our legal counsel, is there some way that if a majority of this commission agreed that we could approve option number 2, version number 2, that we see on the screen there?
Well, let me look at number 2 a little bit.
We have to answer the appeal first.
Right, you'd have to affirm or deny the appeal, and I'm not sure that if you deny the appeal, so you're denying version 1, but if you deny with conditions, I'm not sure if you can get to 2 from that, with conditions on your denial on 1. But you could recommend to staff that they administratively approve version 2. I think that may run into problems with the roof edge lighting, since that's not as much of a subjective item. But if you considered that.
Well, when I said version number 2, I meant without the roof edge lighting. So let me ask staff this. If we were to turn down the appeal, which means we now have version 3, which is there, would you be amenable if they came back with version number 2 without the rooftop lighting? Would you be amenable to approving that? Or can you answer that tonight, Carrie?
Well, you can tell them that if they appealed again off of a staff denial of version 2, you'd grant
Yeah.
it.
I suppose we could do that.
I mean,
So,
I
Okay,
mean,
that would be my suggestion. If we can do that, my suggestion would be that we reject the appeal, which means we're not going to go with 1, which is, in my opinion, over the top. But my encouragement would be to the petitioner is they come back with version number 2 without the rooftop lighting, and present that to the village, and that get approved. And if it didn't get approved, that you come and appeal back to this body, and we sustain the appeal.
thank you.
That's my suggestion.
Okay. A lot of good information here. Personally, I'm inclined to approve their appeal with the exception of the rooftop lighting, but I'll ask my other commissioners first. Commissioner Zatar.
I was hoping I was going last. I kind of already went a little bit. I mean, I'm totally on board with the rest of the room. I think the roof lighting has to go, and I'm kind of very black or white. Your request to appeal the decision as is, number 1, has to be rejected point blank. And then I think, like, technically the rules are you need to bring forward another proposal and then we vote again. But I think you guys made it all the way out here to hear our thoughts, because you want to know what we'd like to approve. I think that, personally, this is a very subjective topic when you start talking about horses and ice cream cones and artwork. And I don't think your splattered paint, sorry, not trying to offend you, but I don't think that's like a trademark or that's part of your signage. But I'm not sure. I went to Dave's Hot Chicken in California last week, and it was just the circle. And I think just the circle with the yellow, chicken meets what you read in the code, attorney. You mentioned how, that's your brand and that's your code. So I guess I have a question. I think like the splatter paint look is like kind of, hey, I got colored flags on my store. Look at me, I'm trying to draw attention. And I wouldn't want to set a precedent for every business to go out there and ask our staff for crazy colors on the walls so that they can have, whatever the term is, rubberneckers looking by and causing accidents on the Grange. But the toned down version, I don't think is that bad. I am curious to ask, would you remove the panels if you went, so you would keep the panels that are on the lower walls if you got something else approved today? I just saw you nod your head, is that right? Yeah, so I think that like we have to talk about this holistically, and an appearance review needs to be a proposal with the full appearance. Because if we're sitting here talking about some paint on the top, but then they're gonna keep the paint on the walls, and then I didn't know that was gonna happen, we're getting into this situation that, is kind of putting our foot in our mouths. And then the business next door is gonna say, well, that business did it. So like following the rules, black or white, they're supposed to submit what they'd like, and we're supposed to say yes or no. And there is subjectivity involved. And for me, the first option that you're asking to appeal would be way over the top, in my opinion, subjectively, with the bottom panels, the top, the color, and the roof lighting. So I would vote no. And then now this is just for your information, if in the future you came for a review and it was toned down, I think that I personally would be okay with it, but I want to see it before I vote on it, because I don't want, to be confused and say, I thought we voted on this, and then I go over there and it's
But it's
that.
confusing, the different iterations we're seeing.
Yes, that's right. And so, you got the answer. The panels are going to stay. I think, are you going to take down the circle and then replace it with the Dave's Hot Chicken? Because version 2 and 3, or version 1 and 2 doesn't have the circle.
So from my understanding, no, because we have to be within code for the sign code. So the sign code square footage has to stay because that's the square footage.
But the next version doesn't have the circle. It has Dave's Hot Chicken.
Correct, that was the first version of it.
That's what you're asking for.
Version number 1 was the original one we submitted, but even when the appearance letter came back, we had to go in front of the sign committee. They were not, I had to do signs separate because the sign is square footage strictly.
So
They were not approving, appearance review was not approving signs.
So technically what you're asking for is the bottom panels, version 1, you said no roof lighting, and I think now you're saying, but also keeping the circle.
I would keep the lighting that's on there at the halo to the front. You can't the side one cannot be haloed.
Well, we're not,
No, the side one has a circle right now today. You would keep the circle. Okay, so it wouldn't be that picture. It would be that picture with a circle on the right side.
That's,
just,
Correct,
Yeah.
because when we went to the appearance review, I had to do sign permitting separate. So this was just more so visual for sign, or for the people here.
For the
just
for
to
the
clarify,
paint.
just to clarify, Joe, we can't approve another version tonight. We're here to either approve or disapprove of their appeal.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at
And if
originally, but
that
I was
the
trying to
case,
learn
I
what
know
they
you're-
want.
Yeah, you want to know what their mindset
Yeah, I want to
is.
learn what the final result from their perspective would be.
But
and I think it's-
understanding that if we did deny it, they'd have to come back.
Okay.
With another version, and you're just trying to help out and say. what
I
you
was
think
trying to
would.
understand, well, because I think there was an idea over there by the board members to say, why don't we let them know what we're thinking personally, because they're going to come back and they're going to need something
That's
approved.
fine, that's fine.
And so I was just saying, like, the circle thing that would be there, and then the part facing LaGrange directly, or facing west, you want to have white halo letters, and the back of it is red lights, or back of it is paint? Because I can't tell from that artwork.
This is the first I'm hearing that they approved halo lighting.
And
Yeah,
they
we
can't-
did that
They
2
can't
weeks
have
ago.
red halo lighting.
Well, that picture looks like an artist did a glow with the red.
So I didn't even know halo lighting was approved last night. So originally when signs are done separately, so when we did sign, we originally asked for halo lighting, but it came back that the village did not allow it. So I instantly took out the halo lights.
Okay.
I didn't allow it.
if I may, obviously there's confusion, number one, because the code change was last night. So, like my client indicated, this is the first we're hearing of that. Additionally, kind of like I said earlier, the process was not the typical process. The process was more, what about this? What about this? What about this? Hey, we've got to get open. We need something.
Yeah, I think
So
that-
I certainly appreciate the confusion.
But I also think that, you know, when they say, what about this? You know, in essence, that's the staff telling you no, right? So it's a denial of this, and I have to say, if you're appealing what they denied, like that, and then like I can't even see what the appearance would be, I would say I deny this as well, and then I kind of gave you my thoughts. Like, I wouldn't want panels and paint on top and roof lighting. I'd want to tone it down. I wouldn't want like every business in Orland to have like this goal of creating attention for traffic. That scares me because I live here, and you know, I don't want to look like Las Vegas. So I think you have my feedback. So that's all I have.
That's appreciated, thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you, Joe. Commissioner Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to keep it quick. I don't mind the artwork. I mean, I feel like it's, you know, it's your branding. It's also a free country. So if that's what you want to do at your business, go for it. I would say, you know, to go for Joe's point, you know, tonight we'll have to vote no, just based on the lighting on the roof. But I would be, I mean, I'd be in favor of version 1 with conforming halo lights, removing the roof edge lighting. And then I did like the idea of potentially, if you did leave the facility, returning it to how it was when Mod left. That would kind of help, I think, alleviate some of your concerns. So with those kind of modifications, I would be okay with 1. Just food for thought.
Thank you. John? Commissioner Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to vote to approve the appeal, and I'll give you my reasons. But I'm not sure version 1 is all that different than version 2. Just a little more color to it. I don't have any problem with that. Here's the thing. You know, a lot of the feedback we get is everything in Orland Park, most things, are big chains. The big chain restaurants, the big chain stores, right? Now this, I mean, you guys are a chain, but it's not a big chain, right? You got to draw attention to yourself. You've got to find a way for people to find you. That's not a great location, to be honest with you. There's the street is above you, looking down towards the restaurant, okay? So you've got to find a way for people to see what you're doing there. Look, if all you had on there were golden arches, 2 little golden arches on each side, people would be lined up to go there. If you just had a little KFC on the side, people would be lined up to go there. We know those brands. We can spot those things a mile away, right? You see it, oh yeah, I want to go to McDonald's, it's right there. But nobody's heard of Dave's. So do we want these, do we want these people, do we want restaurants to come in here that are not big name, you know, multinational brands to come into Orland Park and have a shot at being successful? I think you've got to, that gets people's attention, and that's exactly what you need to have. I mean, it totally makes sense to me. There's precedent for this. If you go on 94th Avenue, there's a grocery store that opened up recently. It's just north of the Jewel, right off north of 159th Street. It's a Middle Eastern grocery store.
Yeah.
This thing stands out, okay? The colors and everything, it's in a strip mall. It's not standalone. That standalone thing keeps coming up. It's not a standalone, it's a strip mall. It's in the middle of one. When I saw that, my first thought was, is that even legal? Obviously it is. It's there. It's been there. Again, perfect opportunity. They're not Jewel. They're not Mariano's. You're not going to spot that sign from a mile away. They've got to stand out to have any shot at being successful. And again, it's 94th Avenue. It's not a great location. They've got to do something for people to see, hey, we're here. I think that's a great idea, and there's already a precedent for it. In that same center, like you had the picture up there before of, I think it's Casa Margaritas. That thing is all fluorescent yellow and green and orange, and why not? It's got to stand out, right? If it was Taco Bell, who cares? But I mean, that's got to stand out. It's a small independent restaurant. They've got to be noticed. Kind of the same idea. One of the things in the code, appropriate to the Chicago area. Well, what does that mean? Well, this is a Chicago area. It's in our code. Going to Chicago, you see every sign is different. Every building is different. It's a lot of, especially when you're talking about, again, smaller, not national and multinational chains. You've got to stand out. You've got to be noticed. You're not a destination. You know, it's an impulse. Wow, never saw that before. Let's check them out. That's how you're going to generate your business. I mean, the social media stuff is good too, but unless you're running ads on national television 24/7, you're going to need people to stop and say, wow, what's that? And you got to get their attention for that to happen. Concerned about if things go south and the building becomes vacant, that seems to me like that would be more of a concern between you and your landlord, property owners. I'm assuming you don't own that. Right.
And they did approve it. I mean, landlord approval.
Yeah.
Is approved of it. And it is, I mean, it's like I said, how many businesses have done that?
Mhm.
There's been quite a few from all
Yes,
over.
there have.
I'm not even 100% sure, but, I mean, we're trying not to leave, we're trying to stay.
No.
I don't even want to think about that by
Only
any
one.
means whatsoever leaving, but also we know that coming down with rain, it's hard to see the panels, it's hard to see, once summer comes, I'm assuming those bushes are going to be quite large, that are there. We have, here's all the landscaping pullbacks that were, requested and, in the appearance review. And you want to be seen. You just want to be somebody. And really want to be here,
Okay.
not just for, we want to be here a lot.
Yeah. Because,
At least the lease says I'm going to be here for a lot.
right. And again, that's between you and the landlord, what you write into the lease. I'm sure that's been discussed, and I'm sure you guys have figured it out. If they haven't, well, that's between, again, that's between you.
So they have to be
Right.
flexible with, the design option that we did give them, because they also want us to leave as well.
Like I say, it's between you two, that's between you guys, that shouldn't really concern us. It seems like this whole thing is subjective, right? I mean, is that too much? Is that not too much? It's sort of, this whole discussion boils down to. We're not talking about changing codes. We've already agreed that the roof lighting is not gonna happen,
Right.
no matter what, because that's not legal, get it? The halo lights, we just approved that here not too long ago, so I was glad to see that the board approved that last night. It's a great idea. Again, it's gonna help, it's gonna draw attention, especially after dark. But those are the reasons that I support the appeal.
I'm confused at the last statement. Can I ask a question? You said, the last statement you said was without the roof lights. Is that allowed? Like, are we saying conditions on the appeal?
Roof lights aren't legal.
I'm sorry?
The roof lights are not legal.
But if you vote yes on the appeal, they do get the roof lights.
That
Unless
sets
you vote
precedent, and
yes
that
with the
creates lawsuits.
condition, yeah.
We can vote yes to the appeal with the condition that the roof lights are removed.
Yeah, that's what I
Can we
would
do
support.
that?
Yes.
Oh, I
I
didn't
would
know
support
that.
that.
That was what I was asking.
100%.
Well,
Because the roof lights aren't legal. So, I mean, that's not subjective. That's
Yeah.
black and white.
well, thanks, John. I think your remarks were very thoughtful.
Thank you.
I've spoken enough, I think. And my fellow, Commissioner Schuster, you want to be recognized?
I have one question. If the appeal is approved,
Yes,
then we go back to version number 1.
correct.
Which says roof edge lighting and halo lighting for the signs. And now, the attorney said we'd have to put in a condition that
Roof edge
the
lighting.
halo, the roof edge lighting is not allowed because that's under the
Right.
code. But if we don't put that condition in, they get it because that was in their original proposal, is that
Right.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, with regard to the halo lighting, only white halo lighting is approved, but their original version number 1 had red halo lighting.
Did it?
So that would have to.
No, it didn't. It's white. It had white halo lighting with red background.
Okay,
It's reflecting on a red paint.
The white light, it's that
Yeah,
bright.
it's in conformance.
White light.
okay, so the halo lighting is not an issue?
No,
then,
it isn't.
Because it's now allowed under the
Right,
code?
just the rooftop
Okay,
lighting.
Fine.
Is that correct?
Yeah, there's one thing to add though. If the red backdrop becomes part of the sign, then that counts towards the sign, the square footage. So,
Which you're aware of.
you'll have to conform.
Which you are aware of.
Which I'm 100% aware of.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just,
That's where the circle sign, the back sign, all that comes in, because originally, I have to confer with the
Sure.
code for signage. So it had to be the square footage that was allowed, and that's 100% square footage
Good. I mean, there's a lot of discussion here, so we need to be as clear as we can. I was starting to say that, well, I think most of my commissioners, with their questions and their comments,
I'm still confused. I'm so sorry. So
Hi, Commissioner.
just because I think we're leaning towards a way of appealing or approving with conditions, I think there's probably going to be a motion. Do we have to add in conditions about the existing panels that are on the lower half of the building?
It's not, conditions
There's our
is,
attorney.
conditions is the wrong term of art for what you would be doing.
Variances, whatever you want to call them?
It would be that you would approve, so you would not affirm the staff. And with regards to, if you wanted to break it apart and do it with regards to certain elements, you could. So you could affirm the staff's decision with regards to the roof lighting. You could affirm the staff's decision with regards to the halo lighting. You could not affirm or deny with regards to the other elements.
Is this a separate motion?
I mean, if, you can make whatever motion you want to make.
Okay, I'll make it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Have we all been given ample opportunity to express our thoughts? I thank you all. So, yeah, and I personally feel benefited from a lot of the discussion we had, and particularly listening to Commissioner Paul's discussion would certainly make me inclined to approve the appeal, and, you know, with the, however we do it, where the roof lighting is not part of that. So the question is, and I would ask you, Ann, well, I don't have a motion here, but I mean, we could approve, I mean, do we take a vote to approve the appeal, and do we take a separate vote to approve?
If I were to rephrase what you just expressed,
Yeah.
I would say that you're seeking a motion to approve the appeal except with respect to the roof lighting.
Okay, all righty. So,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion.
go ahead.
Regarding case number 2024-0587, also known as the appearance review for Dave's Hot Chicken at 15139 LaGrange Road, as shown on the plan submitted via email by the petitioner on July 29th, 2024, known as version number 1, prepared by Design Team Sign Company LLC. I move to approve the appeal stated in the petitioner letter dated December 13, 2024, subject to the following conditions. Let's number them. Number 1, that all building code related items, including acquisition of permits, are met. Number 2, that signage is reviewed and approved separately through a sign permit. Number 3, that existing landscape be restored per approved landscape plan dated 2/11/2003. Missing plants to be replaced with like species. Number 4, existing landscape stone and rock mulch to be replaced by 3-inch organic mulch. Number 5, install 4 bicycle parking spaces, 2 U-shaped hoop racks within 50 feet of the main entrance with 4-foot spacing between the bike racks. Number 6, LED lighting along the roof, no.
We don't need a number
No,
6.
No, number 6.
That's it.
Yeah. that's
Okay,
it.
and I will second that motion. We've had our opportunity to discuss this back and
Understood.
forth, and we're at a point where we've got a motion and a second, and I'm going to do a roll call of my
I'm going to
commission.
be quiet.
Yeah, and then we can clarify any questions.
Commissioner Zatar?
So I want to vote and just add a comment for the record. I'm voting no because I believe that the petitioner came here asking for an appeal to number 1, but number 1 is not the final look of the appearance that they're looking for. So even though we omitted 2 of the line items on that list of 7, I still think that the final appearance is not represented in number 1. And I don't know what the final appearance would look like, so I want to vote no.
So that's a no? Okay. Commissioner Sanchez?
Aye.
Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Nugent?
Aye.
Commissioner Schussler?
Aye.
Aye. So the appeal is approved by a majority vote. Now, the question I have is, since it's not unanimous, does it have to go to committee?
No.
There's
no,
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 this is
there's no-
not a
there's no
recommending
committee.
Or the
body.
appeal authority.
Please,
We're it.
please, I'm asking our attorney.
Yeah, your city, this is the final decision with regards to this. It doesn't go anywhere else.
Okay.
Nick, she already said that.
I know, but she, well, I needed to hear it a third time.
All right.
So did we approve the wall panels?
We're good.
No, the wall panels were the part of the well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the wall panels were part of the compromise design.
Yeah, but
And
that's-
so it's
so
going, so they get that, which does not limit the artwork to the wall panels.
Okay.
We should have a
Right?
separate,
Do we-
Am I
we should have
correct?
another motion to remove the wall panels.
That's right.
That has nothing to do
Well,
with the appeal.
they get to now. That design which is approved does not contain the wall panels.
No, this is an appearance review, and we just approved an appearance. So technically, if they want to go with this appearance, they need to make it look like the picture, except for number 6 and 7.
We had,
Well, that's what she said. The wall panels have to come down automatically because they're not
That's what I was trying to tell
They're
you.
not up there.
is that
so-
your understanding?
You understand that?
So our
don't think it is.
understanding is the lower part was already approved, and now we're talking about the upper part.
That's your appeal.
No.
Your
no.
appeal is,
Yeah,
please,
no.
one at a time, and I will recognize you individually. Megan,
Yes,
you were explaining.
yeah.
What's the
So,
question?
and I think this goes to your comments on confusion over what is approved versus disapproved, because we had a previous approval, and now we have a new approval. So this is what we've,
No, you have an appeal.
The administrative approval is now reversed.
yeah.
You have an awarded appeal. The first approval
Yeah.
is gone.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
I'm not a lawyer, but.
Yeah, no, I
sometimes
follow.
So
you're correct.
so your appeal is approved
Yes,
with, of course, we don't have the roof lighting on there.
Right.
As Commissioner Schussler read it correctly, the LED lighting is not part of that.
right.
But also, for the approval of the line that said, the wall art, demountable wall panels, was not part of this
Right.
either.
So they have to come down.
So there it is. Okay?
So you got your upper stuff, what you
Okay.
want?
But not the
Yeah,
lower.
you're down.
Good.
The lower
Understood.
stuff has to come out.
Could I ask?
Well, I'd like to thank you for your help in explaining things and for your patience and for your determination. And I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners for, doing as much as we all can as a group to make sure we're all understanding the same proposals. It's quite confusing. But we do have an approval of the request.
We very much appreciate your time this evening. I don't know that I've ever spent this much time talking about signage and colors on a building, and I do appreciate everybody's
I
attention.
warned you at the onset.
Right? You did. You did.
That's
So-
one question before they leave.
Commissioner Nugent.
Because it's not the matter at hand, but while I was here, I looked up about 8 of their stores. I know it's not part of the appeal, so I didn't ask it then, but I looked up about 8 of your stores, and I looked at your websites. The little chicken symbol that you put up seems to be imperative to identity, isn't it?
Yes and no. It all depends on signage. So what would I allow would be a square footage of signage, and so we kind of went back and forth on what we feel.
So they've spent the money on it already. Now, this is for them in the future. For the east side or the second half of the south side, they've maxed out their signage. This is the step. They're not allowed any more signage then?
No, they're at max capacity right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
That angle would be extremely hard for me to even be able to get there because it's a factor, and that factor would be
Okay. Okay, I was asking more on their behalf. I know it's not part of the petition, so. Okay.
And just on the color issue too, if you have time, if you're ever in the interior of the store, the colors are, part of the design.
They're replicated?
Also on the inside, yeah.
Nice bright red chairs and all.
Okay,
It looks like the Chicago locations are loud. They,
well,
Yeah, I have a 3-foot wall I just did, which got a huge juice and a large.
they look,
It's pretty, I think.
Why did you mention In-N-Out Burger?
Because the four gentlemen who founded this, took everything that their principles are on, based off of In-N-Out Burger.
They're all over California, but there's not any, I don't think there are any in the Midwest.
Okay, she just bought like 400 acres down in Tennessee about 8 months ago. They'll be here. Give her just a little bit. I bet you it won't be long.
You're talking about In-N-Out Burger. They'll be in Tennessee?
She's buying, I want to say 400 acres to put a new corporate headquarters. Probably like maybe 8 months ago. She bought it 8 months, a year ago.
They do a big business all over California.
You know, her philosophy is if she cannot deliver it, grow it, produce it, that's how she's able to get her prices so cheap. Is that she grows her own potatoes, she processes them, makes her own bread, all that stuff.
They move people through that place really quick because it has a limited menu.
okay.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
We'll try it out.
I move that we
Adjourn.
close the non-public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move that we adjourn at 8:22 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, staff. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, fellow commissioners.